Well, good morning and afternoon. My name is Don Caruso with the Rico Scanner Group, and welcome to episode 3 of Scanning Trading Cards and Gaming Cards with a very special guests, Ted Mann from Card Dealer Pro Collects Group and Fred Barnes from Card Dealer Pro Collects Group. Welcome, everybody.
Hey,
Hey,
thanks
Don.
for having us, Don.
Thanks.
So,
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you guys. So we're going to spend about an hour today talking about the market, also talking about the technology behind Card Dealer Pro and Collects and our partnership and the history. We'll give a demo toward the end, and there is a question and answer session that will be at the end of this webinar. We'll answer all of the questions, or as many as we can as time permits at the end. So feel free to go to a little question and answer box that you see on your screen and type in any type of questions as we go along here, and we'll address them at the end of the event. But I think that we have a long partnership together, the Card Dealer Pro and Collects Group. I've been with Rico for almost 17 years now. In our partnership with Card Dealer Pro, Fred was probably the first person that we met, and we'll talk about the integration between Collects and Card Dealer Pro here shortly. For the last couple of years, Fred and I have been working together, and in the last couple of years, Ted and I as well, and it's been a great partnership. And one of the things that we really value is the whole solution. The scanners is just one part. We provide great image technology. We provide great paper and card handling. We don't damage any of the cards. And one thing that we've really worked hard is to work with our partners to make sure the whole experience from front to end is something that is beneficial for our clients. One thing to remind you guys is that we were once Fujitsu scanners. In September, the Fujitsu Scanner Group was purchased by Rico. And just in April, we started shipping scanners that have the Rico logo on there. Now, everything else is exactly the same. We have the same people. The product itself is the same. There is no change in our marketing efforts or anything that we're doing. So that Rico brand is just a new brand that's kind of slapped on the scanners that we're very proud about. Rico takes us to other areas in the business world that we wouldn't normally would be able to get into with the previous name. So we're very excited about that. But enough about the Fujitsu scanner part. I want to get back to talking to Fred and Ted about their business. So Ted, Fred, welcome. What is the difference between Collects and Card Dealer Pro?
I'll take that one. Fred and I will probably hand off and take different questions.
Okay.
So Collects is an app for collectors. It's a free app in the App Store and Google Play, and it helps answer the most basic, simple question that every collector encounters sooner or later, which is, what's it worth? What's my cards worth? What was my collection worth? And from there, we really have tried to build an experience where you can level up as a collector. But it all starts with scanning a card, getting the value, and then building your collection. So we built a really great collection management utility, and increasingly we're starting to help collectors connect with other folks in the hobby and do deals, buy and sell and trade. Card Dealer Pro is another piece of software that we have, which is using some of the same underlying technology, but is really purpose-built for professional sellers, namely dealers and stores, to be able to rapidly accelerate the number of cards that they can sell online. And we do that by using your wonderful Rico scanners to facilitate that process and speed up the process of scanning and imaging the cards. And then we use our AI technology to be able to match the cards and prepare them to be listed on a variety of sites, marketplaces like eBay or websites like like Shopify or the Collects app itself.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Collects is wonderful. My son is, every time we go to a card show, we just went to one this weekend, and he's walking around with his cell phone. I had to get him a cell phone now, obviously. And he walks around with his Collects app, and he's sitting there pricing everything out as he goes through. And he was able actually this last weekend to get a card that was $75 and talk the guy down to $50 just because the Collects app. So
That's
thank you
great.
for saving
I
me
love
money.
hearing that.
I appreciate you
I love
saving
hearing
me a
that,
little bit
especially
of money.
because I love hearing that, number one, because anytime you can save money or do deals using technology is great. But I also love it just because like you, my son is part of the reason why I've rekindled my love of collecting and the hobby.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
getting to
Like,
do it with the kids is really special.
we've his group of friends are now into, we've got them into it. And Collects has this program called the Ambassador Program, where I guess it's like top users or influential users are able to get some perks for going around and using the technology. So if you have, where do we go to learn more about Collects? Is it download the Collects app, collects.com?
Yeah, we have a website. It's actually collects.app. I'm too cheap to pay for the the whoever squatted on the domain. But yeah, of course, you need to go to the App Store or Google Play and download the app for free. It's it is and will continue to be a free app to any user. And if you want to be an ambassador, we have some information about that on the website collects.app. So for our power users, or we like to show them the love and give them some special tools to be able to help other collectors use the app.
Great, great. So Fred, I think, in terms of Card Dealer Pro, my first contact with you in the application came, I don't know, about now 2 years ago, right? How did you even come up with the idea? I think you were a card shop owner at some point in time, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I've owned a brick and mortar card shop in Wisconsin. I moved to Colorado about 10 years ago. And when I moved to Colorado, I went online only just because the economics of owning a brick and mortar got harder. So I started focusing more online. And, like a lot of dealers, the bulk of what I did was I buy collections. I could easily pick out the really valuable cards and sell those. But I amassed all of these cards that were worth like $1 to $3. And at the time, it wasn't cost effective to sell those on eBay because the amount of time it took to list those cards for sale was more than what I was going to get after fees and everything else. So I had constantly been developing software to help build efficiencies within my own shop. And that's really how Card Dealer Pro came about, was this idea of how can I list a $1 card for sale on eBay and make money doing it. And that was when I found Fujitsu scanners. And that goes way back to probably 2014, 2015. I still have the original 7160 that I bought from you guys. I just looked it up the other day. It's got 1.3 million cards that I've scanned through it, wow. And it's still going strong on the original device. Replaced the rollers a few times in there, but it started with the scans that you guys made scanning cards so much more efficient. Getting a duplex front and back scan versus an old flatbed scanner and cropping and all of the work it takes to manually do that. And then that sort of grew because now I had the images, but I still had to document everything with that card. So the year and the sport and the player and the card number, and it's a lot of stuff to type out in eBay. So I was always trying to find more efficient ways to get all of that documentation. And then it dawned on me that if I have the image and I could match that image to a record in a database, couldn't a computer just type all of that in for me? So that's sort of how it all came about, was trying to find a way to more efficiently list cards for sale. Now we use Card Dealer Pro for $1 cards and $1,000 cards and everything in between. But to me, it was all about volume and marrying up the hardware technology and then the AI technology was what brought my online card shop from a few thousand listings a month to hundreds of thousands of listings a month.
Yeah, the AI portion is a really important topic to talk about here for maybe a little bit. The technology advancements that you guys have made just in the last year alone. What is your guys? The question that's always asked is, what is your guys' accuracy? Does it pick up every card? If a new card set comes out, how long does it take for Card Dealer Pro to have those cards show up on the AI side? Is there some light you can shed on those questions?
I'll take a stab at it, and then Fred can certainly add some in as well. So the main type of technology that we're using, which sometimes referred to as image recognition or visual search, is really just using a reference image of a card and matching it to it. So it's quite accurate and actually getting to be quite fast at being able to deliver those matches. But the challenge, of course, is getting reference images of every card. And the reality is that there are new cards issued every day, and some of those there are frankly no images of them that exist anywhere. So when you have a one-of-one card that's just been issued, is our technology able to do the image matching right, the second that card's released? Now, we need to get that image of that card into our system before we can do that. We're working with a bunch of folks, including the manufacturers, Fanatics, namely, to be able to get those images. So when those cards are coming off the line, we actually can get a reference image that we can match to. But that's still kind of early days, and that's not historically how they've operated. They indeed didn't create an image database of all these cards to provide to us. Instead, we've had to go out and essentially cobble that together from a variety of sources, including our users. And so with every passing day, with every additional card scanned, our system gets better because we have more reference images to be able to match against. But it's still, let's just say, a work in progress. When we have the reference image, though, I think it's quite accurate, right? Our system is very good at matching it. Now, you'll see some, like if you use the Collects app, which is a mobile experience, you're taking a picture of the card out in the physical real world. That tends to not perform quite as well as Card Dealer Pro, where you're taking it with a Ricoh scanner, ideally, and you're getting a really high quality, high resolution. With that kind of setup, usually our match rate is quite high. And like I said, it continues to get better and better as we get more and more images into our database.
One of the things that I really like about using Card Dealer Pro is it's not just an AI tool, right? Like it does things like provide pricing. I believe it bounces it off of the card off of selling sites so that you can get an idea of how much you can list the card for. It helps you out, right? You're not just scanning a card, dumping it into a system. Talk about some of the features that you guys have that makes Card Dealer Pro so special, things like that, and maybe the selling database that you guys have. You guys have your own eBay type of platform, right, that you can sell cards to.
Yeah, so there's a few more features that go beyond the image recognition, like you said. I think that the image recognition is the foundation of what we offer, but then from there, we're also tied into the world's largest card database. So if the image recognition doesn't pick up a card, we give you tools to quickly pick out a card from the database to, again, populate all of that info in without having to type out 20 separate fields. So trying to give sellers a more efficient way to document their cards with or without the AI really is important to us. And we have a lot of cool new features coming out that should make that experience even better. But beyond that, from a pricing perspective, yes, we go out and we look at where cards are selling across multiple different marketplaces and try to come up with card values, just like Collects is doing for collectors in the mobile space, where it's saying, hey, this picture of the card you just took, it's worth this much. We're trying to do the same in Card Dealer Pro, but from a different perspective of what should I sell that card for. So not only are we bringing in pricing data to try to help you price your cards quicker, we're also giving you links to do some of that research yourself, because in a lot of situations you don't want to just trust what Card Dealer Pro says or what anybody says, right? You want to go validate that yourself. So we give you links to quickly click on, what are all of the recent sales on eBay? What are other people selling this card for on eBay? And showing you all of that data in a streamlined manner so that you can get to it really quickly. So you don't have to go to eBay and then click on advanced next to search and then change it to sold and then type out the card information. You have it in Card Dealer Pro. You simply click on a link and we bring you right to that page without having to type anything in. So additional tools to price your cards, I think, is very important. And we're making a lot of strides in that as well, and new features coming out from pricing. And the last thing I'd say is, now that you have all of that information, how do you get it into eBay? right? Or to whatever marketplace that you want to sell those cards on. So we're generating what you need in order to hand eBay, 100, 1,000, 10,000 cards all at once to be able to get those listed for sale, instead of having to go through that process of listing a card one at a time. You can, run 100 cards through a Ricoh scanner in a couple of minutes, use Card Dealer Pro to document all of them, and then send them all to eBay in one big batch instead of having to do them one by one. So I think those are kind of the highlights of what Card Dealer Pro offers beyond just the image recognition.
So Ted, do you want to spend a minute or two talking about the Deals platform and how that connects the user experience?
Sure. It's sort of giving you a little peek of sort of where we're headed, especially with Card Dealer Pro, is we want to give the same dealers that are using our software to sell on eBay and other sites the ability to sell through Collects as well, because we're seeing that a lot of users on the Collects app are selling a lot of cards, and so we wanted to open that up as well. So we'll be rolling out a marketplace experience in Collects. We've already had the deals feature you mentioned, where you can go and make an offer on a card, negotiate, and purchase it. And we're going to support the full checkout flow, including shipping and tracking and all of that. So that's coming pretty soon. I don't have an exact ETA on when we're going to light that up in Card Dealer Pro, but that's a big part of our vision.
Yeah, it's what's really, I've talked to so many people over the last year or two, and what clients really want to be able to do. This idea of scanning 1 or 2 cards at a time is archaic now, right? Using your iPhones or anything, using our scanners, you can scan massive batches, and Card Dealer Pro takes those batches really, really well. As Fred said earlier, one of our trademarks on the scanner side is we provide great image technology with reliable card handling and durability and longevity. There's not very many scanners on the market, manufacturers, that someone can say they've used for 5 years, let alone 15, right? What is your guys's, Card Dealer Pro is not just a program just for the United States, right? You guys have users all throughout the world. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So it's not limited to the U.S. There's no restriction on where you can use this, right? So that's one of the beauties of having a web-based application, is that it gives a lot of flexibility in where users can use the product from without being tied to a single machine that you've installed the software on. You can access the software from any computer with a web browser, whether it be in the United States or Australia, as you mentioned. Some of the things I do want to be upfront on, though, is that a lot of the tools, in particular the eBay tools, are uniquely designed for the US instance of eBay. There are some subtle nuances between eBay Australia, eBay Canada, eBay US. So there's a little bit of tweaking that you have to do for your upload files to work. But one of the new enhancements that we do have coming out relatively soon will be that ability to choose which eBay marketplace you want to list to. So we'll be able to adapt to the local region. But yeah, this is an accessible tool to anybody in the world, because all of that card information is going to be the same from the AI perspective, right? As far as the year, the make, the model, all of that, it's all consistent. So
yeah, we have dealers in Australia, UK, all 4 or 5 corners of the world that use it, and and many of them that are using it with the Ricoh scanners.
What does your guys' user base look like? How many are you guys? I mean, without giving confidential numbers out, you guys have a massive amount of users, and that's growing exponentially every month, especially as we do events and shows and webinars, hopefully like this. How does that look? You want to give some details to the audience here of how well you guys are doing?
I can share some numbers. We're not like super proprietary about that stuff. And they're going to sound suspiciously like round numbers, but it's the truth. We have about 1,000 active subscribers on Card Dealer Pro, and we have about 1 million users on the Collects app. So it's a big audience, a big user base of dealers and stores, as well as a big audience of collectors.
Yeah. we
And
share a
with
lot of
that,
mutual. Go ahead. Sorry, Fred.
oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, like to me, it was always really encouraging to see how many people were just looking for this solution, right? I sort of built it out of necessity, but I always thought it was funny because like I built this software and then I would be at local shows in the Denver area or wherever I'd go, and I have friends all over the country that sell cards, and it seemed like every show that I went to, people started asking me like, "Hey, I noticed your eBay store blew up, and like you all of a sudden went from a few thousand listings to hundreds of thousands of listings. Like, did you hire a team of people to sit in your basement and do this, or like what's going on?" And it was a little bit interesting that it took me a long time to realize, like, wait, if I needed this software, other people do too, because all of my buddies were like, "Hey, whatever you're doing and whatever you have, I want that." But it just sort of demonstrated to me, this is a need that a lot of people have. And if you look at what's going on with cards today and the hobby and just how much it's blown up, that whether this is a full-time job for you or a part-time job, side hustle, or even just a hobby business, and you like to buy, sell, and trade to just grow your collection, there's thousands and thousands of people that benefit from, having a good scanner and having the technology to do it. So, it's, to me, always just, been really fun to see how many people are looking for this, because it just saves you so much time, and time is, our most valuable commodity. So as far as growth goes, it's just, first thing we do is say you need the scanner, and once you got the scanner, we have the software to go with it.
Yep. It's interesting, I talk to so many people. Our scanners by nature are paper scanners. So there are so many people who are like CPAs and, using a scanner at work, and they ask, can I use that same scanner to scan cards? And the answer is yes, as long as it's an FI series Ricoh or Fujitsu scanner, they will scan the cards pretty well. Now, some models do it much better than others and allow different types of variants of cards like chrome or thicker cards. The 8170 is our flagship model that we try to offer to every customer who wants to buy the package. And as we get, it's an interesting topic is what is the model of which people can purchase Card Dealer Pro? It's a subscription model, right?
Yeah, it's a subscription model. But one thing that was always really important to me was, being as price conscious as possible, because when you're listing $1 cards, you're not going to pay $1 for software to sell a card for $1, right? So keeping the pricing where we could be as competitive as possible to actually help dealers find ROI was really important. So it is a subscription model. The subscription drives the number of cards that you're able to run through and auto document with the AI, but it works out to, a couple of cents, maybe 1 cent per card, depending on your subscription. And we give you that flexibility of going up and down. We also give you the flexibility of, keep your subscription super low and then buy additional scans if, you bought a new collection and you're going to do way more this month than next month. Like, we don't want to lock anybody in. So that was really important to us, was it's your cards, it's your data, move freely. And I know firsthand that one of the things in this hobby, in this industry, is the lack of consistency in sourcing inventory, right? You're going to have months where you get huge amounts and you're going to have other months where it's a lull. And that's just the nature of what we do. So giving that flexibility to be able to adapt to that was really important to us.
Yeah. Now, you guys have been very instrumental with trying to figure out add-ons for this market, right? You guys provide the software, I provide the scanner, but you guys have been very instrumental with finding a gentleman named JP Laskus. And I think it's a shame if we don't spend a second to give him a plug, because he's spent a lot of time with you guys and us building out tools for the scanners that benefit clients while using Card Dealer Pro. Things like a stacker for the scanner to raise it up so that the scans can come out into a protective cover, like what Ted's showing there. And the monstrosity of the 750 scan add-on stacker, which I believe is starting to do pretty well for him. So if anybody is looking for any of these add-ons, you can go to either the Card Dealer Pro website or my website and find a quick link to JP. Anything you guys want to say about JP that I didn't miss?
I love JP. He reached out to us originally because he had built a card sorting robot. So something where you could dump a whole bunch of cards in and it would like sort them into different, essentially different piles, which is, I mean, it's another thing it's not an inexpensive piece of hardware, but really cool. And we were eager to work with him, and we said, well, there's actually some really low hanging fruit, in terms of potential add-ons that you could make for the Ricoh scanners, and he quickly turned around. He turned around the risers and the card catch bin, which basically just like, I think, so many of our users, myself included, and I think Fred, you too, I just put them onto card boxes, right? So that I could stand it up and the cards could feed right into a box.
Away they go.
And this is just a much cleaner, more elegant way to do it. And they're super cheap because they're 3D.
Yeah.
And then he built the other, I call it the hopper, where you feed in, a large number of cards. I think it holds 750 to 1,000 cards.
750 to 1,000. I think it depends on the kind, but it's amazing when we were playing that over at the Burbank.
Yeah.
The amount of people that would walk by and just stop and say, "What in the world is that thing?" And then we would be able to do the demo on all the products was gold. So.
And it was like, I think, John, you and I were asking JP, wouldn't it be cool if we could have a way to do this? And, we were probably grossly oversimplifying what it would take to build such a thing. But he actually was a mechanical engineer. He was able to construct something that works brilliantly. And I think he's got a lot more in store. I think he's going to actually be able to, I don't want to steal his thunder, but at the National this year, for anybody who's coming, come by our booth. You can meet Don, you can meet us, and you can also, I think he'll be able to meet JP and see some of his latest inventions. But he's got some cool stuff in the store.
It's going to be cool. It's going to be interesting to see what comes new. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to see what new contraption he's come out with to try to help out the market. That leads out to the next conversation is where can I see you guys live? Like you guys are working a lot of shows and events, and you're starting your own webinar series, the Card John, right? I'm going to get this right one of these days. Talk a little bit about where you're going to be.
So thank you for the plug on Card John. Just launched today on our YouTube channel. So definitely go check it out. It's really just a podcast about cards and collecting and the hobby. But we also, talk about Card Dealer Pro. We talk about collects. We talk about, we talk to interesting folks in the space, including card stores and dealers and how they've been able to get success. But in terms of shows, we're going to be at the National in Chicago at the end of July. So that's going to be the next show that we're at. But we've attended a number of shows over the course of last year. I hope I can remember them all. So we've been to Burbank with you, Don. The Mint Collective was another really great one. A Dallas Card Show, Culture Collision in Atlanta. We've also been to some local shows like the Philly Show and the Fishtown Show in the Philadelphia area. And Fred's repped us at the Denver card shows. We don't have a published list of all the shows that we'll be going to for the rest of the year, but we're hoping to make it to as many as possible. But the National's the big one, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, we are too. As a collective team, you're kind of seeing the people that do the shows. Between the three of us and Alex, probably are the people that are working as many events as we collectively can with our child sports and everything else that goes behind the scenes over weekends. So, on the Ricoh side, we have an area that just says where we're going to be next. And generally speaking, our partners are either always there with us or they're somewhere else showing the scanners along with the software products as well. So we do a pretty good job of teaming up. So we're kind of getting to that point where I think a lot of people are wanting to see a demo, but before we jump into, I'm kind of just eyeballing the chat area, and a lot of people are talking about gaming cards, Pokemon and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. What do you guys? What's your take on the gaming card market? What's your take on the technology that you guys have to support that market? Spend a little bit of time about what your thoughts are, maybe with the TGC player and all that fun stuff as well.
So gaming cards are definitely in the very near future for Card Dealer Pro. we've had them on the Collects app now for a little while as well. And when I say TCG, trading card games, Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh is where we started. There's obviously a whole bunch more. There are also a whole bunch of other sports card categories that we do intend to light up on both platforms, including but not limited to racing, tennis. I'm trying to remember what else people were posting in the chat.
Wrestling. I think
we have wrestling. Yeah, we haven't brought that
wrestling
over to CDP yet, but we will. We started with the big three: football, baseball, basketball, and we added hockey, and now we've had a few more. In terms of how the technology works, it works quite well on trading card games. The image matching is very accurate and very fast. We did have to create separate models to support those, which is just one of the find trial and error as we needed a slightly different approach to handle those types of cards. But it works quite well, and we have pricing for them as well. So we've been able to pull in pricing from other sources. We found that actually eBay is not the best source of pricing for a lot of these, that other marketplaces tend to have more accurate pricing. But we've been able to figure that out over time. So we will continue to add new categories to both platforms in the weeks and months to come.
Yeah, the gaming card market in the US side for the Ricoh scanner line has been something that we haven't really put a lot of focus on. It's something that I'm going to change here in the next couple months. We're working very closely and with our products to see what settings work well. We're actually releasing a new scanner in the next 20 days called the FI8040. And what's going to be revolutionary about this scanner is going to be a lower end scanner, but it'll have a white background option. And what we hear from a lot of gaming card customers is because most of the cards can get darker and you have those holograms, that they want to scan in a white background to make sure the edges pop off and the overextension of the scan happens. So that scanner will be actually the second scanner on our line. The first one was the FI7030 that has a white background option. And I think we'll do really well in this market. Our friends in Japan have just sold the 40-unit deal with a very popular company out in Japan that supports the gaming card market as well. They have like little shops and stuff where people walk into to buy the Japanese version of the gaming cards. And the excitement for the gaming card market is spreading from Japan, where most of the manufacturers come from, into the United States. So we are very focused on trying to have a really nice seamless integration on the scanner side. And it sounds like the Card Dealer Pro guys are doing that as well. So, gosh, I think we went through the list of all the questions and everything that I wanted to talk about. Is there anything that you guys wanted to talk about before we do a live demo? I think we're there.
Let's do the demo and then jump to questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and do a live demo now. And again, we see your chats going into the chat forum. I see that there's about 8 of them. We'll address them after the demo here, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all the questions and sit back and enjoy the ride. Oops.
Hello everybody, Fred here with Card Dealer Pro, and I'm really excited to show you today how Card Dealer Pro's AI can help you rapidly and more efficiently list cards for sale using those beautiful scans that you get off of Ricoh scanners. So for today's demo, I'm going to assume that you already have cards scanned and saved into a folder. If you need help scanning, Don would be happy to show you how to do that with the Ricohs, but I already got these beautiful images from my 8170. We're going to go ahead and get those auto-documented using Card Dealer Pro and listed for sale faster than you could any other way. So in Card Dealer Pro, we do things in batches, and what a batch is, it's a group of cards that you're going to list together at the same time. So in this case, that's going to be that folder of cards that we just showed. I'm going to call this batch my Ricoh Demo 3, and I can add other information like the price that I'm going to list these for, the condition, the inventory location of where these are saved. But most importantly, you have title and description templates that you can save in your settings. And I'll get into more details later on in the demo because that's really where the magic comes in with Card Dealer Pro. But for now, I'm going to click Create, and we now add our cards to the batches. So we can either manually search the database to add them with stock photos, or we can click upload card images to use our Ricoh scans. We can do front and back images or just front only images for our listings. Everyone likes front and back, and the duplex scanners like the 8170 scan front and back at the same time automatically, so we're going to choose that option. So I'm going to select all of the images that I have saved in that folder and click upload to bring all of these cards into the batch. And once they're uploaded, you'll notice that we have a new batch that gets created called Ricoh Demo 3, and we now have a status indicator that says that these are processing. Processing means that the AI is analyzing the image to find a match in our database, and once it finds a match, it's going to auto-populate all of the card details without you having to type out anything, saving you tons and tons of time. So for this demo, we're doing 6 cards, but you can imagine if you did 100, 200, 400, 500 cards at a time, how much time that saves you in documenting and writing everything up. We now see that the processing is completed, and it shows that 6 of these cards are matched. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my batch, and this takes us into gallery view where we can see these cards that we uploaded. And one of the things you'll notice is that just from uploading the image, we now have titles that have been written for these cards, where the AI actually knows what the card is and is writing all of that out for us. If we click on a card, we're brought in to see the details of all of that AI generated stuff. So in this case, we brought in that it's a football card. We know that it's mint because we could see that it's graded by PSA and it's a PSA 9. We have the year, the brand, the card number, the cert, the parallel, attributes of the card, like if it's a rookie card, the team it comes from, etc. We even have card value information on recent sales on eBay to help us price the cards out. On this page, we can flip through and see other cards to work on. We can see what matches were also brought in by the AI in case it grabbed the wrong match, etc. And we can update all of that info. Some of the other things I like doing is adding banners to my card images so that they stand out more on eBay. So to do that, I go to my menu and I just simply choose Add Banner to Cards. And what that's going to do is it's going to kick these back to processing, and our AI is going to add a banner that I had saved in my settings to all of my card images. It takes it just a second for that processing to end, and now I can click back into my batch and I can see that I have these nice banners down here added to all of my card images that advertise my eBay store. One of the other things you can do is you can work on your cards in spreadsheet view, where you can see all of the auto-documented information, including the title that the system automatically generated based off of my settings, and the descriptions and all of the other AI info. And we're going to list all these cards for sale on eBay, so I have my view set to eBay, and we get this other cool feature called flags. So a green flag means that you're good to go and that this will list successfully on eBay. Yellow means that it will go through and list for sale on eBay if you push it out, but there's some info that's missing that you might want to add to make your listing better. And red means that it actually would fail because it's missing critical information like the price or the player or something else that would cause it to fail. So I have a bunch of yellow listings, so if I scroll over, we actually highlight what's missing that's needed in order to list this as best as we can. So eBay's recommending that you add a condition or a grade if you want to maximize your listing. So I'm going to go ahead and click fill column, and I'm going to say that all of these cards' grade or condition is mint, and hit fill, and that would add it to all of them. I could click in here one by one and add that for each individual card if I wanted to change this one to say excellent mint. You can work on it individually as well. Once you're ready to list these for sale, we simply click export batch and we choose where we want to list them for sale. In this case, we want to list to eBay, so we're going to leave that as is and hit export. And this is where we're going to choose what sort of listing we want to create on eBay. So we could do a fixed price listing, or we could do auctions. I'm just going to leave it as fixed price since that's how I like to sell most of my cards. It has my information on where the cards are coming from. It's fixed price, standard price. I'm going to enable best offer, and I'm going to tell eBay to automatically decline offers if it's less than 80% of my asking price, and automatically accept offers if it's over 90% of my asking price. I'm going to leave it good till canceled. I have my default shipping information that I saved in my settings that gets pre-populated, and I could update my return policies as well. I'm going to go ahead and click next, and now it's going to ask me when we want to schedule the listings. So live immediately is going to post them for sale right now, or I could choose to schedule a start time where I choose the date and time that I want these to get listed for sale. I'm going to leave it as immediate, click next, And if I were to hit create, that's going to create my eBay listings. So this is a very quick overview of what Card Dealer Pro can do. Some of the other things that we've shown are in the settings here. So if we look at settings, this is where we had our banner image saved that we can add the banners to the cards. If you want to use SKUs for inventory management, this is where you can custom create your own title templates for how the AI is going to write your titles using the card info. Same with description templates. You can use a combination of these data fields that's going to be all of the dynamic information about the card that you can add, or you can freehand type in your own information as well. You can also save your eBay settings with how you want to list things for sale. Tons of flexibility there, so you don't have to fill all that out each time you export. So again, this was a very high-level overview of Card Dealer Pro and how we list cards for sale. If you want a more in-depth demo, please go to carddealerpro.com. You can schedule a demo with us where we will do a one-on-one Zoom with you and show you all the ins and outs of the product, but was happy to give you an overview of it for now. So carddealerpro.com. Otherwise, I'll kick it back over to Don so that we can continue with the live webinar portion of today's event.
All right. Thank you, Fred. That was a nice demo. So I think everybody can see the GUI interface is very modern. It's quite nice and easy to use. You know, one thing that I do know, and this is a tip to the cap to Fred, is anytime people need any type of assistance, he's usually setting up a call within 24 hours and jumping on a call and helping people out. And I know that there's other staff like Alex behind the scenes that does that now as well. But you know, the nice thing about Card Dealer Pro is that they're very, very, very helpful. You can get someone on the line generally faster than you can probably get a hold of me, to be honest with you. So if there's anything that you guys need, please feel free to reach out to the Card Dealer Pro folks. So I think we came to the part of the hour where we try to tackle some of the questions that are in the inbox. I see about 11 of them right now. So we're going to go all the way down to the bottom and start. And the first question comes, besides new cards, what card categories are less likely to be found? Smaller brands, I expect. And then, does your interface support bulk entry of data or image and title linking from a checklist for new cards? So it looks like it's two questions in one. Maybe the first one is there like lesser popular brands like maybe Leaf or something that play a secondary role in getting the AI up and going, I guess?
Yeah, I can try to tackle some of these. I wouldn't say that there's any like lesser brands or like subsets of cards or anything like that. We do our best to get every card that we can, and certainly I think that, you know, the likelihood of us finding a match is greater when it's a more popular card, but it really comes down to, have we seen that card before, like Ted was talking about. We have some really obscure stuff like 1960s Korean minor league sets. Like, if it's out there and we've seen the image of it, it's in our database and we're going to be able to match it. It really comes down to that likelihood of, have we seen the image before? So when you look at the vast number of parallels and subsets that the manufacturers put out now, Panini, I think, is like inventing new colors of the rainbow to like continue to increase how many parallels there are. The likelihood of, you know, getting the exact match in that sense gets harder. But one of the things that we do have is, with the instance of like parallels and subsets, is let's say that, you know, we match it to red and it's actually lava. We know that lava exists in that list of potential colors and parallels that it could be. So we make it really easy where you can change like the color variation of the card with just one click. Instead of having to search again and type out a bunch of stuff, we know that that general same image of that card but in a different color exists. Whether we've seen it or not, we have the checklist data, so you can still change the parallel of the card really easily. So I don't think that there's any, like lesser brands or anything like that. Really, it's more of just how many of these cards exist and what's the likelihood that we've seen the image of it on the internet before.
Yeah, and if for some reason something like, I've seen customers email, I've been copied on emails like, hey, such and such isn't populating. You guys jump on that really quick. And if it's something that can be scanned through it's usually within a couple days that the system's up and going. I think part 2 of that question was bulk data and bulk entry. That's pretty easy to do within the software as well.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not quite following the question there. We let you bulk upload the images of the cards. We don't currently have the capability of, say, like bulk uploading a spreadsheet and then being able to work on that spreadsheet of stuff in there. So from like a checklist perspective, but we do let you work in bulk in the sense of, this batch of cards, whether it be 10 cards or 1,000 cards, we let you, work on them in bulk. And most of the time it's somebody uploading bulk images. That's really kind of what the tool was intended for. There will be ways in the future to bulk add cards and listings using stock photos. Right now, we only really let you do that one at a time. But we get that question a lot of like, hey, I don't want to take the time to scan, the entire 1980 Topps set because, I want to use stock image for the 1 cent cards, right? So how can we do that in bulk? We are looking at ways that we can do that, but currently it's not supported, but it's on the road.
Okay, great. Next question. Is there any plans to make it so that you can edit an image in Card Dealer Pro? It's frustrating when you have to rotate an image and then you can't change it on eBay. Plus, if you rescan it, it counts toward a scan.
Yeah. So again, roadmap item. I don't like continuing to say like it's on the roadmap, but we have a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be coming out sooner rather than later. Some simple image manipulation like rotating an image is definitely something that we're going to be able to support within the web app. Currently, no, you can't do that. We do rely on, how that card is oriented in your folder when you upload those images really kind of dictates how it's going to look. We do have a desktop app that integrates with Fujitsu scanners. And if you're using our desktop software to scan instead of the Fujitsu software to scan, we let you rotate and things like that. But candidly, if I can, I use the Ricoh Fujitsu ScanSnap software instead. So
yeah, the PaperStream capture software in the box does a pretty good job of rotating. I mean, it's not perfect. There are cards that kind of throw it off if there's more images on the card or if it's not more like a standard, cardboard type of card. You need to rotate it, but you can edit within the PaperStream capture software fairly easily. It's just a matter of hitting that little arrow.
We always coach the Card Dealer Pro users to look at the images before uploading, not to just scan and upload blindly, but actually go through and just take a quick look at all of them to make sure that everything's coming through right. And the editing capabilities in PaperStream are fantastic, and likewise with the Card Dealer Pro native apps, you can do that as well. So I mean that capabilities exist. It's just not supported in the web application.
And the other thing I would say is, we want you to be successful using the product. The more you use it, the more you start to, pre-rotate the cards and, like Ted said, look through them. If you run into a situation where it's like, oh man, I get 500 scans a month and I just uploaded 100 of these and they were rotated the wrong way, and that's a quarter of, all of my monthly scans, reach out to us. We'll gladly hook you up with some free scans to make up for that because we want you to be successful in it. So we don't like to, nitpick on that, especially when you're getting started. Like, we got a ton of flexibility there. That reach out to us through support and we'd be happy to, give you those scans back.
Great. The next question, when will Ricoh have a Mac application for image editing? Guys, that's going to be something that's very far down the road. I'm not going to lie. It would be a complete integration review and upgrade from the manufacturer. We have some tickets in place with the manufacturer to see if that's something can be on the roadmap. But I know at least for the next year, it's not something that is being looked at. I will say Mac Preview does an okay job. It's not as powerful as PaperStream Capture. Typically, what I advise customers who are wanting to scan on Mac is to go to Costco or go to Amazon and buy a $200 type of laptop and scan on a PC. I know that's not ideal. That's not the answer everybody wants to hear, but I'm not in the market to make lies and make things up. It's just much more efficient scanning on PaperStream Capture than any other program on that Mac can provide. Hopefully that answers the question.
I'll also chime in there, Don, if that's okay, because as a
Sure,
Mac user,
yeah.
it's definitely like a hot button for me. And I think we have a ton of users on Car Dealer Pro that are Mac, and so it is a challenge. And I think buying a cheap Windows computer is a good solution. We also recommend that. You can also use. We do have a native Mac app for Car Dealer Pro. It's also one of those things that's on our road to take another look at and rework. It's not, unfortunately, not top of our list. We have a few other things that we want to work on first, but you can use our native Mac app to be able to scan using Ricoh. It will talk to the Ricoh scanners and allow you to import that way. So it is an option. It's I think, like we said, buying a cheap Windows computer is probably the best option. But that's also something that you can try.
Yeah.
I personally would say I don't recommend image capture. I've had too many challenges with it.
Same here.
It doesn't support doing borders around the edges, which our native app does. It's not going to do any of the auto cropping, and probably most problematic is it assigns kind of like a weird numbering system to the card images, which actually proves when you're.
Yep, good point.
I'd like that to work, but it's not one I would recommend.
It's not ideal. Yeah. I think the next question we've already asked, we've already talked about TCG Player and Formula One. Next question, you mentioned working directly with Fanatics to get reference images. Are there any other manufacturers providing similar data? Are the manufacturers providing spec data as well, or are you compiling that data?
So great question, Colin. So we thus far we have not been getting images directly from the manufacturers. It is something we're working on. It is not yet a process that they have fully implemented, but it will be great, and I'm confident that it is a thing that they will have up and running this year. In terms of spec data, checklist data, I think is what we're talking about. We do get that from some of the manufacturers, and we also get it from other sources. So that's pretty readily accessible. I mean, they provide it as well to the stores and shops selling. So that's never been, getting the checklist has never been a big challenge for us. Getting the images is the real trick. And we're working as well on some other ways that we can gather those images from our CDP users. Because of course, every CDP user that's scanning new product that maybe we don't have images for is a great source, because they're good, high quality images that are good candidates for reference images. So we're eager to make that a feature within the app. And rising tide lifts all boats. And if one dealer scans in those cards and can take the time to manually map them to the checklist, that presents an opportunity where we can then, going forward, use those images to help every other dealer.
Thank you. The next question, I'll summarize this a little bit more, is why are the scanners so expensive? I need a better scanner and something that's more affordable. I get this question a lot, and the first way I would respond back to this is that the ROI for buying a solution, so not just the scanner but software, is less than about 3 to 4 weeks. So if you're using the product, don't look at it as an expense. Look at it as a way to make money. If you just focus on the expense of a scanner, you're going to run yourself into a rat hole and probably never answer that question for you. If you look at the solution as something that will get you ROI, it's very quick. We offer scanners from $500 that'll work in this market all the way up to a $1,500, $1,800 flatbed solutions. Generally speaking, when someone asks me this, I use the analogy of eating a steak. You can buy a steak at Denny's and it's a steak, right? You can go to Ruth Chris and have an experience and get the best quality steak. So every scanner can scan something. Do you want your card damaged? Do you want great image quality? Well, yes, then spend the money on something that's going to give you something with a very quick ROI and give you the quality that you need. Hopefully that answers your question.
I mean, to add a little to that, Don, because this is something I get a lot, and I'm such a big fan of the Ricoh scanners, is to me, it's not, like you said, it's not about like the cost of the scanner, it's about the time that I'm going to save. So, I don't make anything when you sell a Ricoh, like buy whatever you want, right? Like I'm not an unpaid spokesman here. But I bought my 7160 8 years ago, and I have 1.3 million scans in it, and I think I paid $1,200, and it was one of, at the time I'm like, this is so hard to spend this much money on a scanner. And now that I look at the amount of time that it saved me a heck of a lot more than $1,200 worth of time over these past 8 years. And to your point about quality, you can buy $100 printer from Walmart, and it's probably going to print 1 or 2 times, and then in a few months when you really need it, it's not going to work. Or you can spend good money and have something of quality, right? It goes for scanning equipment as well, that you get what you pay for, and you're not going to have to rebuy a cheap scanner because your stuff holds up. And it's not just saying that again, like I can show you the scanner and the scan count and the thing's still running. So it's about time savings to me, and like how much time did I save? And I saved a heck of a lot more than $1,200 worth of time.
It's really interesting. A lot of the calls that we get is someone who did the cheap route and bought other manufacturers and find really quickly their cards get damaged or they can't scan a Chrome card, which, by the way, the next question is, can we scan a Chrome card? Yes, absolutely. Go onto our website. There are settings that are specific. Remember, though, that it's never going to be perfect. Anything that has a reflective image, you're not going to get that same image back when you run things through a scanner. So generally speaking, the settings that I have on our website will get you to about a 90 to 95% image quality, which is more than enough to sell these cards on eBay.
I love that you added that page to your website, Don. It's great with all the paper stream capture settings. I was emailing a screenshot of that to people whenever they would ask, and I have to sometimes coach folks to say, when you're scanning Chrome cards, use a different profile. Don't expect the same one-size-fits-all scanning profile to work for all different card types. So
that's exactly
if you're scanning, junk wax cardboard, like use these settings, and then if you're doing Chrome card, use the ones that you recommend on the website, and they'll work great. I mean, it's again, it's never gonna. You're never going to be able to get a mirror to kind of like look, perfect, or the way it does in the real world, but you can get pretty good image quality. And I think definitely the best image quality I've ever seen for those Chrome cards if you use the settings.
Yeah, it's we've tried to build our website out into an information area. Like we kind of want to be seen as a trusted advisor, not just someone trying to slam a scanner down people's throat. So it's very solution oriented. Our website has a lot of tips and tricks, as does yours. I know, tip the cat to Alex, who's almost every day putting something on Instagram, with tips and tricks on both the hardware and software. I think we probably have time for one more question. I don't think people like that you might be a Packer fan, Fred, so sorry about that. I don't know if you are or not.
I'm an owner of the team, so by default, I guess I'm a fan. So.
By default, you have to be a fan. But I think we pretty much answered the majority of questions in the chat. So, guys, if you have more questions, feel free to reach out. We're all readily available. You can reach out to any of us for questions. We'll be following up this webinar with an email. And like I said, in the next 24 to 48 hours, this webinar will be posted on our website so that you can go back and watch it on demand or forward it to friends and family. But if you have any questions, again, we're readily available to reach out. Ted, Fred, thank you so much for your time today, spending an hour. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
I'll add one more plug. So if you can't check out the Card Dealer Pro YouTube page, we posted some really great videos over the last few weeks from card stores and dealers. We've had great success with Card Dealer Pro. Some really great, I think, key studies in how to use this software to accelerate your business. You've introduced us to a ton of these folks, Don, so thank you for that. Folks like Bo Million Comps Project and Carrie American Arbitrage. So I think it's worth, if you have some time to watch those, you'll get some additional context and tips about how you can level up your business using the software.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, don't believe us. believe the users, right? There are hundreds of thousands of customers that have invested in both the software and the hardware that will tell the same story as what we are. Thank you all for joining, and look forward to the next webinar, which probably be in the next month or two. And thank you again, guys, for attending. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Don.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.